It's Tuesday, September 10th, and I'm your host, Paula Hersey. We dedicate today's show to our first responders and their families. Heroes walk among us every day. The Barnstable Police Department currently employs 118 sworn officers with approximately 14 civilian employees and 14 civilian dispatchers. It is the largest police department on Cape Cod. They are now accepting applications for lateral transfers to fill civil service vacancies, and Chief Sonneman joins us in studio with the details. Promotions, people moving on, always lots of attrition within public safety. Chief Sonneman, you've got some openings.
Yeah, we're going to have some openings, that's for sure. We're right now in the process of doing some promotions here, some lieutenants and some sergeants coming up. We've had some people retire and move on. You know, and as we promote these people, it's going to create some openings down at the patrolman level. And right now we're looking at 10 vacancies that we got to fill. We're a civil service police department, so we're working with civil service to get the list, and the list is out right now. So if you're on the list, you should be getting an email from civil service and come on out and sign the list and get into the process. So we got to go through that process. It's about a 10-day process where we got to wait, see who comes in and signs the list, and then after that we proceed with backgrounds and the other things that we got to do, interviews and things like that. We're looking at a February academy down here on Cape Cod. The Cape Cod Police Academy is going to run their second class. It's going to be right around in the middle of February, late February. So that's the class we're shooting for. So getting all the medicals and oral boards and physical assessments and everything that needs to get done in that time frame it's tight, but we'll get it done, and we'll get as many out of that 10 as we're looking for.
All right. And there's actually a process. There's somebody within your staff that handles a lot of this. Lieutenant Gene Chalice is really kind of managing the process. And one of the things that was interesting to me when I first heard that you guys were hiring again was the whole lateral move. So knowing in the fire departments, some of our volunteer fire departments lose their folks to career firefighters. What's this lateral type of, from other police force to another police force? How does that work?
Well, it's not necessarily just to a police force. It's from one civil service agency to another. So technically, you could lateral to a fire department if you got the approval, because it's still like a civil service department.
Right.
But it's a lateral move within civil service. And the way that works is one chief of police has to sign off and allow one of his employees that's on civil service to transfer over to another civil service police department. And the police department that's receiving that person also has to sign off and say, yes, I'm willing to accept. If the chief where the officer currently works does not want to let him go, then that person can't leave. If the chief on the other end doesn't want to accept the person, then the person can't transfer. So there's a blanket there, some civil service things. You have to be a civil service department. Like, for instance, if someone was working in Mashpee is not a civil service police department. They could not apply as a lateral transfer to us, because we are a civil service police department. That individual could take the new civil service exam and be on the list and get hired as a new hire, but they could not lateral. Because they have it all has to do with civil service. You've got your civil service standing, you've got your civil service tenure, and then you can transfer.
Right. And by lateral position, it's not going to a higher grade.
No, it's not like not like a sergeant in, take Mashpee. If Mashpee was civil service, transfer to Barnstable, they wouldn't be a sergeant over here in Barnstable. They'd be a patrol position. So we accept lateral patrol positions.
Okay.
And then what happens is, generally, the people that transfer are people with usually less than 5 years on the job. They're fairly new. and they transfer a variety of different reasons. Usually one of the big ones is they transfer from a smaller agency to a larger agency for more opportunities at promotion, more opportunities at specialty assignments, and things like that. And sometimes they get, they get hired somewhere, and it's not quite a good fit. They may be a good employee, but hey, this isn't really working out for me. Sometimes we see people that have grown up in small towns, want to transfer to a larger town, or a town that's not where they grew up, because they're dealing with their friends all day long and people,
Right.
associates, and people they knew all day long. So some people, it's a bit uncomfortable for some people, so they want to transfer somewhere that's maybe close by where they live, somewhere they're familiar with, and so they want to go somewhere else and deal with a larger population and maybe not run into as many of their friends that they grew up with and stuff like that. So there's a variety of reasons why people want to leave. Some good, some bad.
Right. And then when we talk about, that particular lateral move where you kind of are getting an employee that has some work history, that has some documentation of how they've performed on a job, compared to what you see now with a good economy, people really wanting, they're younger people looking for the force. You don't have a whole lot of work history on these
Well,
folks.
and that's a good point right there. I mean, right here you got, say if you're going to hire somebody that's straight out of college, they may have had some menial jobs, may not have had any, may have just devoted their time to school and whatnot and took their summers off. So they come and they apply, they're 22 years old, they just got out of college, and they really don't have a lot of work history. You can't really, one of the big things you're looking for in any job is you want to see what kind of employee are you? Are you going to show up to work on time? Are you loyal? Do you work hard? Those are some basic things that just you can get out of any job, and that's one of the things that we look for. What kind of work history do you have? And they may have minimal work history. So that's kind of a downside there. The upside on the civil service side or the transfer side is not only are you seeing someone that obviously has had a job for at least a couple of years, you're also seeing that they've done the same job that you're looking to fill. So you get a good look at, number one, what kind of work history do they have? Number two, what kind of police officer are they? There is no guess. A lot of the new hires, you're kind of making an educated guess. They have a desire for the job. They've taken a test. They've gone to college. They've been educated, but they haven't ever really done the job. Most of them, So it's like you don't have an opportunity to say, okay, what kind of police officer would you be? So you're kind of taking an educated guess on some of those people, and most of the times it pays off. But we've had people we get hired, brand new hires, get in here, and they're here in their FTO process, and they come in and sit down and tell you, you know what, this job isn't for me, and they go, and you lose out on that investment because it can be expensive to hire a police officer. Not to mention the time investment in it. It takes about a year, all the training and everything else that gets done, and you've invested all this time, and now the person comes in and says, this job really wasn't what I thought it would be.
And this isn't just one or two. This is, you're talking 10 at this.
We're looking at 10 right now.
And come spring, first of the year, could be another 10, 15 folks.
Well, become spring, there could be another 3, 4, 5. We've got people that are getting to that point now in their careers. It's starting to take a look at retirement, and you get people that are, get hurt, and they might not be coming back. So you got to take a look at your best guess. And right now we got 10. And we're in that process to fill those 10. We'll get as many of those. And then whatever we can't get, we got to roll over into the next class. And the other thing that factors into this is what's the academy availability. Right now, the Cape Cod, Plymouth is running a class in December, and that's going to be too soon. We can't get into that. Cape Cod is running a class in February. But if we don't get into that, the next available class in the area is in Randolph in June. So, and that's like a 2-hour commute each way, and then try and do that in the summertime, coming over the bridge and back and forth 5 days a week. That's a difficult proposition. So if that's out, then you're looking in sometime in the late fall, early winter for the next class. So there could be a gap of time there where you can't fill anybody. You may have people you want to hire, you got a list, but you just don't have a class to send them to.
Right. And it's different industries out there have different ways of recruiting employees. Your CSO program has been somewhat successful in 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of these young men and women coming onto the force. Is there something that sticks there with these young adults that seems like they've worked with the department, and this is they know this is what they want to do?
Well, it is good. It's an opportunity for them to come in and see, hey, what kind of is it like? See the police officers, go down there, go on some of the calls, be around some of the activity. So they get a good look at, kind of what it's about. Another good source is internships. We get high school kids, college kids come in and do internships. A lot of stuff they do tends to be clerical because we can't just, they go on ride-alongs, they sit in the dispatch area, so they get another look at it. And then, another one is dispatchers. We've hired dispatchers in the past, or even now, we're hiring dispatchers. They come in and when you hire them as a dispatcher, like, I'm not really interested in being a police officer. No, I want to be a dispatcher. But then they come in after a couple of years, they're like, this is interesting. I had no idea how this really was, and this does interest me. And so they apply. So there are a couple of different avenues that we have, and then with those avenues, not only do they get an opportunity to kind of look at what we do, we get an opportunity to look at how are they. So it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes if you're a good employee and you go there and you do that and like, it's a good employee, it's a good good person to take a shot with. Sometimes they come in and probably not the one we want to hire, but it's good for both of us. It's good for them, it's good for us. We fill a slot, they get an opportunity to take a look at something, and we maybe get a prospective employee in the future.
All right. So what's the process? Are there some deadlines that folks need to be aware of for these lateral positions?
Right now, by Friday, they're going to have the civil service list signed. This coming Friday. And then next Monday, there's going to be all the people that have signed the list. We have an orientation night. We bring them all back, and we run down the list of, hey, here's what we expect. Here's what you got to do. Here's the application, fingerprints, photographs. Get some of that office clerical work done. And then they're given some dates after that. Hey, here's when you got to have your application back. Here's when your first interview is, and then they roll from there. So it really depends on who signed the list, and then we move forward from there.
Excellent. That's great information, and hopefully your hiring event is successful.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Excellent. Thanks, Chief.
Have a great day.
Patriot Day, officially known as National Day of Service and Remembrance, is observed every September 11th in honor of the individuals who lost their lives as a result of terrorist attacks on September 11th, 2001. We take a look back at last year's ceremonies at the Com Fire Departments and Barnstable Fire Department.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
The Fireman's Prayer. When I am called to duty, God, whenever flames may rage, give me strength to save some life, whatever be its age.
Help me embrace a little child before it is too late, or save an older person from the horror of that fate.
Enable me to be alert and hear the weakest shout, and quickly and efficiently to put the fire out. I want to fill my calling and give the best in me to guard my every neighbor and protect his property.
And if according to my fate I am to lose my life, please bless with your protecting hand my children and my wife. Thank you.
It is my honor to welcome you all to our service of remembrance on the 17th anniversary of the attacks of the United States, September 11th, 2001. Each year, this is by far the most difficult public speech that I deliver. Even though 17 years have passed, the events that unfolded that day still seem as fresh as if they happened just yesterday. This was a tragic day in our nation's history, one that we will never forget. For those of us in public safety, September 11th marks a somber day which affects us deeply, knowing that our brothers and sisters gave everything and made the ultimate sacrifice to save so many others while the world was literally collapsing around them.
From the selfless acts of bravery and heroism at the World Trade Center, to the passengers who overthrew their hijackers, forcing Flight 73 into a farm field in Pennsylvania, to the men and women who have served in our militaries, they all believed in something, and some sacrificed everything. Com Fire Captain Donald Souza believed in serving his community and sacrificed everything. Yarmouth Police Sergeant Sean Gannon believed in serving his community and sacrificed everything. Weymouth Police Sergeant Michael Chesna served his country and his community, believing in service to others, and he sacrificed everything. Retired 32-year Natick Fire Lieutenant, U.S. Coast Guard veteran, and friend Robert Fitzgerald, who passed away this weekend, believed in serving others and sacrificed everything. The thousands of members of the FDNY who responded to the attacks on the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001, including the 343 who gave their lives during the greatest rescue in human history, believed in serving. Some sacrificed everything. In closing, I ask you all to discount the rhetoric regarding this latest ad campaign. Close your ears to both the critics and supporters, and instead remember its slogan when you see a passing fire engine, ambulance, or police car. Remember that the responders inside believe in serving their community and are willing to sacrifice everything. Never forget.
In the midst of the heartbreak and wreckage of 9/11, the world also witnessed what is America's greatest strength. Firefighters, nurses, police officers, first responders, and local residents worked around the clock to rescue and care for those injured. We bring this bridge dedication at Exit 5 out of our archives. We think it conveys how all of us feel.
When a first responder is caring for a patient, nothing else in the world matters. When I was working in the Pacific Northwest, the Seattle area had a reputation, a well-earned reputation, as having the best first responders in the country. After having worked here on this peninsula for the last 20 years, I can tell you that they're good in Seattle, but they're better on Cape Cod.
When those calls come, they are always answered. Always, 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 always. And we should never take that for granted, ever.
But as I thought about this event, this flagpole, this bridge, I thought that maybe there's one aspect of how firefighters live and act that is worthy of being called heroic. When firefighters arrive at your house, your business, or your traffic accident, we're here to help people we've never met. We are here to help anyone in need without regard for who they are or how they came to need our help. Firefighters do not judge the people we serve. I think the best way for each of us to honor firefighters is to go forth from here and be a hero to someone new in your life. Follow our lead and don't judge. Leave judgment to courts and to God. Be there to help your neighbors. Be there to help strangers. Be part of making our community a better place.
I know I could say a lot of things about the men and women I work with every day. All the excellent things they do that no one knows about. All the times they show up when everyone else has holidays or Thanksgivings, Christmases, birthday parties, or anything else when they show up to work. That goes the same with the fire department, the dispatchers, and everyone else in public safety. I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, Representative Hunt, Deputy Chief Exaros, for doing something that, although we know every day, the bring to mind to the general public as they pass through here of the sacrifices that each and every one of these men and women make every day. It's easy to remember and talk about the ultimate sacrifices, and we should, and it's just and it's right. But each and every day, these officers and firefighters, dispatchers, paramedics, and everybody else sacrifice something to come into work every day. And I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of them for being there and being that linchpin that keeps everything working together.
Let these dedications be a gentle reminder that as we sit at a memorial park, as we pass by a flagpole, as we drive over or under a bridge, as we read an inscription on a stone, or as we watch children playing in a playground, these memorials and tributes to those working in these professions and living amongst us, your dedication and commitment to your work every day will not be forgotten. And for those in these professions who have passed before us, these memorials and signs of appreciation symbolize the knowledge and the fact that no matter how much or how little time has gone by, we will never forget you. May God bless you and keep you safe.
Up next, things to do, places to go, and people to meet. On the 18th anniversary of 9/11, all of our town of Barnstable's fire departments will hold remembrance ceremonies for personnel and the general public. The West Barnstable Fire Department will participate in a ceremony at 8:15 a.m. on the covered patio outside Wilkins Library, Cape Cod Community College, 2240 I&O Road, raising the flag with its ladder truck. The Cotuit Fire Department remembrance will begin at 8:30 a.m. with an apparatus rollout at 8:55, followed by a 9 a.m. by assembly at attention and a moment of silence before the program. The fire station is 64 High Street. The Centerville, Osterville, Marston's Mills Fire Department will hold a ceremony at 9:45 a.m. at the Station 1, 1875 Route 28, in front of the 9/11 Memorial, which includes a piece of steel from the Tower 2 of the World Trade Center. The Hyannis Fire Department will roll out equipment out of the bays in front of the station, 95 High School Road, at 9:45 a.m. There will be a moment of silence, ringing of the bell, lowering of the flag to half-staff, and the firefighters' prayer before the bell is rung again and the flag raised. The Barnstable Fire Department will hold a ceremony at 9:55 a.m. at the fire station, 3249 Main Street, that will include music by Trinity Christian Academy, prayers, and reflection. The department will also take part in a joint ceremony with St. Mary's Episcopal Church at 4 p.m. The ceremony will begin at the fire station with Mark Howard as soloist, and a procession featuring bagpipes, a police honor guard, and Cub Scouts will head up Main Street to the church. The Reverend Dr. Libby Gibson will officiate the service, and Dr. John Cox, president of Cape Cod Community College, will be the guest speaker. A reception will follow in the church gardens. In the midst of the heartbreak and wreckage of 9/11, the world also witnessed what is America's greatest strength. Firefighters, nurses, police officers, first responders, and local residents worked around the clock to rescue and care for those injured. We ask that you be a hero to someone new today. I'm Paula Hersey, and thank you for watching Barnstable Today.